This story takes place during the First World War. A young woman named Pearl lives in Texas. She has a very strict and controlling mother named Ruth. The woman forces her daughter to work on the farm from morning till night. Pearl doesn't like this life at all. She dreams of becoming famous, but for now she can only perform for cows, goats, and horses. A white goose shows up in the barn, but Pearl is not happy to see it. She picks up a pitchfork. The girl walks up to the lake and calls a large crocodile. She feeds the predator the very same goose. In the evening, Pearl makes dinner with her mother, reads the latest newspaper, and takes care of her seriously ill father. He's completely paralyzed and barely responsive. We learn that Pearl has a husband named Howard, but he has gone off to war and now writes tender letters to his beloved from the front lines. The girl misses him terribly. She takes a bath next to her paralyzed father, gives him his medication, and confesses that she wants to become a dancer. The next day, Pearl rides her bike into town to get morphine for her father. Most people are wearing masks because of a dangerous flu outbreak. She buys the medicine and heads to the cinema. Pearl loves watching movies and imagining herself as the characters on screen. After the film, she meets a young projectionist. The youngster clearly likes her, and the feeling seems mutual. Yes, Pearl is married, but nobody seems to care. The projectionist gives her a single film frame as a gift and invites her to see another movie. On the way home, Pearl loses her film strip. She immediately stops her bike and runs back to search for it. She comes across a scarecrow in a cornfield. At first it frightens the girl, but then she climbs up to it, pulls it down, and begins to dance with it, imagining it's the charming projectionist. Pearl kisses the scarecrow passionately, which looks pretty creepy. Then she jumps on top of it, screaming with joy. The girl returns home and once again takes a bath next to her paralyzed father. She squeezes the man's neck to make sure he can still feel pain. After the evening prayer, Ruth finds out that Pearl has spent 8 cents more than she was supposed to, so she takes away the girl's dinner. The woman reminds her daughter that they are very poor and must save every penny. A new day begins. Pearl is milking the cow when she sees that they have visitors. It's Howard's sister, Mitzi, a young, beautiful, and very wealthy woman. Mitzi has brought a roasted pig for Pearl and her parents, but the proud Ruth refuses to accept it. Mitzi tells Pearl that a dance audition for the Christmas choir, which will be touring the entire state, will be held on Saturday. The girls decide to go there. The main character is convinced this is her chance to become a superstar and imagines herself performing on stage. Pearl tries on one of her mother's old dresses and sneaks out of the house at night to meet the handsome projectionist. The young man offers her a glass of wine and encourages her to follow her dreams. He shows the girl an adult film called A Free Ride, which he had bought earlier in France. Pearl has never seen a movie like that before. She's a little embarrassed, but can't take her eyes off the screen. Pearl confesses that she doesn't like her life, but she can't abandon her family. She wishes she didn't have parents at all, then she could finally be free. The projectionist advises the girl to flee abroad while she's still young and beautiful. Pearl returns home and hears her mother crying. She quietly lies down in bed and glances at Howard's portrait with a mixture of guilt and longing. The next day, Pearl takes her ailing father to the lake and calls for her pet alligator. She wants to push the wheelchair into the water, but then hears her mother's voice and stops. Soon, Pearl finds a nest of alligator eggs hidden in the reeds. She secretly hides one of them in the barn, scolds the cow for watching her too closely, and then smashes the egg. At dinner, Ruth shows her daughter a movie flyer she found in Pearl's room and sends her out to the barn. Pearl declares that she's going to the dance audition tomorrow. Her mother strongly disagrees, and another heated argument erupts. Ruth grabs a sharp knife and slams it into the kitchen table, then slaps her daughter in the face. Pearl hits her back, and the two women get into a violent fight. Pearl pushes her mother to the fireplace, and Ruth's dress catches fire, leaving her with severe, life-threatening burns. Pearl drags her into the basement and leaves her paralyzed father alone in the kitchen. She flees to the movie theater and spends the night with the projectionist. She dreams of receiving a standing ovation on a grand stage, but the dream quickly twists into a nightmare. Pearl wakes up in a panic and starts getting dressed. It's the day of her audition. The projectionist drives Pearl back to the farm so she can rehearse a little before the performance. The girl sees a soldier on the road and gets scared, thinking it might be Howard. Pearl asks the guy to wait for a bit and runs inside to check on her sick father. He's still sitting in the kitchen. She moves him into another room and gives him some medicine. Meanwhile, the projectionist notices the roasted pig covered in maggots on the doorstep. What a disgusting sight. Pearl invites the young man inside and shows him her paralyzed father. They go upstairs to the girl's bedroom, but a noise from the basement makes the projectionist uneasy. He wants to go downstairs and check it out. The youngster notices signs of a struggle in the kitchen. Pearl claims their dog made this mess, so she locked it in the basement, and now it makes noise there. Nothing to worry about. Pearl takes the projectionist to the barn and shows him her animals. She named the cow and the goat after her favorite movie stars. The guy asks what the dog's name is, and Pearl replies that they don't have a dog. That's when the projectionist realizes she lied to him. The guy is concerned about her theatrical behavior and that fake smile plastered on her face. He glances at his watch and says he has to go. Pearl gets furious at the fact that the man's leaving her. She thought he would take her abroad, and now he's running from her. What a letdown. Heartbroken, Pearl grabs a pitchfork, catches up to the projectionist, and makes 3 extra holes in his body, and then 3 more. She drags his body out of the car and lifts the pitchfork once again. Back in the house, Pearl finds her mother still alive, but the girl has no intention of saving her. Instead, Pearl bathes her paralyzed father, washing the blood off her hands in the process. Then she puts on her mother's finest dress, ties the bows, and twirls in front of her father. After that, she picks up a large white handkerchief and sends him to the afterlife. Finally, she drives the car with the projectionist's body inside, straight into the lake to feed her crocodile. Pearl heads to the church where the audition is being held. Several girls are already there, including Mitzi. The main character is so sure of herself that she's even brought a suitcase, ready to hit the road with the touring troupe immediately. One by one, the girls are called in to audition, but each of them is turned away. Mitzi, trembling with nerves, asks Pearl if they can switch places in line. Unlike her, Pearl is perfectly calm. She's certain she will be the one they choose. Finally, it's the protagonist's turn. She walks out in front of the judges and starts dancing. She's 100% certain that her extraordinary talent will win over the demanding jury. After all, a true superstar is standing before them. Her performance is quite spectacular. Unfortunately, Pearl is wrong. The judges turn her down. She's not young enough, not blonde, and worst of all, not even American, but a German immigrant. She danced well, they admit, but in their eyes, she lacks that spark. That's why she doesn't make the cut. Pearl is devastated. She throws a fit right on the stage, as she simply can't accept rejection. Mitzi tries to comfort her sobbing friend and walks her back home. When they get to the house, Mitzi spots the roast pig she brought, now covered in maggots. She gets upset since that pig was her present. In the kitchen, Pearl confesses how deeply she resents Howard for making her stay on the farm. She felt unbearably lonely, and that's why she cheated on him. Through tears, she tells Mitzi the whole truth about what really happened to her parents and the young projectionist. She sobs, saying how sorry she is and how much she wishes she could undo it all. Mitzi is shocked by the confession. She wants to leave her unhinged friend's house as quickly as possible. With a bit of subtle manipulation, Pearl gets Mitzi to admit that she did win the audition and was chosen for the touring troupe. After all, she's young, blonde, and American, exactly the kind of beauty the judges were looking for. Pearl is consumed with jealousy. She grabs an axe and chases after Mitzi. The girl stumbles and falls, and Pearl catches up to her, striking her several times. Mitzi begs for mercy, but the ruthless Pearl raises the axe once more. As you might have guessed, Mitzi ends up as lunch for the hungry alligator too. Afterward, Pearl goes down to the basement. Ruth shows no signs of life. Pearl lies down next to her. The girl has finally lost her grip on reality. She brushes Ruth's hair, sets the table, and seats both of her parents at it. She places the maggot-covered roast pig in front of them. Pearl imagines that her parents are still alive and that they love her. She sits beside her mom and dad and says grace, thanking God for the meal. A few days later, Howard unexpectedly returns from the war, accompanied by several soldiers. As the man steps into the house, he finds the bodies of Pearl's parents seated at the dinner table, with the rotting pig in front of them. Pearl greets her husband with a disturbingly fake smile.